I guess we'll just get started. So, welcome to Laz Xperience episode 4. Today, me and Ria are both here with. Do you guys want to introduce yourself?
I'm Harrison.
And I'm Rachel.
Yeah, so you guys are both just here to kind of give us a little bit more insight about your experience as upper year students. So, why don't you guys start by just talking about what program you're in and what year you're in?
Well, I'm Ria, as many of you probably know. I'm the VP of Promotions for Accelerate, and I'm in my second year of BBA.
I'm Harrison. I'm just a dude, and I'm in my third year of BBA, concentrating in accounting right now.
I'm Rachel. I'm also in my third year in BBA. I don't have a concentration, but I'm minoring in user experience.
Okay, and then my name is Lily. I'm also a second year, and I'm also the VP of Marketing for Accelerate. So, to start off, just like, why did you guys want to come onto this podcast, and like, what were some things you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, so I've been like a part of this club for a while, kind of just being, I was a mentor last year and then a mentor this year again. I thought it was like a cool experience to get this like whole like video to share like my experience within like BBA and the co-op program.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, similar to me. I haven't been a part of the club, but when I was in first year, I had a really great IA who gave a lot of really good insights and advice that I think a lot of people wouldn't really be exposed to. So for me, coming on the podcast means just the ability to kind of share that with other people. And maybe if someone hears and learns something, that'd mean a lot to me.
I want to give your IA a shout out.
Rachel Proctor, wherever she is right now. I think she's working at, Procter & Gamble.
That would be fitting if her name was Proctor.
No, it was funny. But yeah, she was great. She's long graduated now. Well, maybe not that. 2 years ago, I think, yeah.
As you guys both said, you guys are in the co-op program. Just for fellow first years who are interested in applying for the co-op program, could you guys touch on like what the application process was like for you and any tips that you could give for the application process?
Yeah, so I remember, I don't know if it's like the same timeline, but I think they have the applications open for a really long time, up until like August, I believe, somewhere around that timeline. Kind of co-op guides you through of like how you should form your resume to like submit. Kind of going through that. I ended up submitting at the end of the summer just because I had like more work experience for that summer, but it was pretty straightforward. They show you kind of like the template for the resume that you're supposed to submit. And then just going forward with that.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's not too strenuous a process. I think they make it out to be a bit more than it is. Like the GPA cutoffs are usually pretty fair. And I know once you actually move forward and get selected for an interview and you get in there, they really just want to see that you kind of hit a few of the core facets they're looking for. I know they really look for, a time when you solved the problem in a team, a time when you took initiative, stuff like that. And they just want to see, I think, that you're well-rounded and that you're going to leave a good impression on the school. Yeah, it's a great opportunity. I think I was similar to you. I think I applied at the end of the summer once I got a bit more work experience. And yeah, no, overall it's been a really great experience. The interview process, I'd definitely say, isn't that... It seems intimidating, but it's not too bad, no.
Yeah. Like pretty straightforward. They ask, like, tell me about yourself, work experience. I'm not trying to trick you at all.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys had this question, but for like, I guess when we were applying, they asked about what school events you were a part of. So how important would you gauge that to be?
I didn't personally have that question.
Oh, okay.
But, I mean, if they're asking about it, there's definitely of importance to them. I was lucky enough to be president of my house council in first year.
Oh, really?
So that was something that I really leaned on to talk about because it's, you learn so much just about working with other people. Like I did student council stuff in high school, but I think, actually being away on your own and kind of running a house council like that, you learn kind of how to deal with people differently. Mm-hmm. Some people, they respond to certain things in some way and some people, don't. So it's really about kind of, I think, just working with people to come together to a common goal. But I guess I kind of went down a little rabbit hole there. Yeah, I think it's important to be part of something in first year because it shows that you are well-rounded and you're doing stuff. You don't, if you have like a 11.5 GPA, that's great. But if all you did was school, then you're not really a well-rounded candidate. So I definitely say it's important to be part of stuff. If you're not really part of that many things, then I think it's just the effort of trying to that counts.
Yeah, same with me. They didn't ask that question, but I think they kind of left it a bit more open-ended, being like work, volunteer experience, or like extracurriculars. But I do think I agree that I think it's like really important to get involved, especially just when you're joining a new university. Like entering a club is like a new way to even meet people, and you can like gain a little bit of experience that can actually help you in work. So they kind of just want to see that you're like interested in getting involved and like being a part of Laurier. Yeah.
Okay. So I guess like we kind of touched on this already, but like what clubs were you guys a part of during your first year? I guess even leading up to now.
So in first year, like I said, I was on house council. I don't think I was actually part of any clubs in first year. In second year, I was part of a club called Ace Laurier, which is also DECA, and I was their director of events. And that was an interesting role because the directors don't really do that much. It's almost like a little honorary thing to say, oh, I was a director. But it was weird because it seemed like every time we'd have an event, the VPs would do a lot of the heavy lifting, and we were just kind of along for the ride. And then this year I was hired as the VP of Finance for Laurier Supply Chain. So that is more stuff and responsibility. It's that true kind of VP role where you have a big burden, you're doing stuff. So that's what I've done. I was also part of a small kind of startup club. That was a really interesting experience as well. I was their VP of corporate, and I didn't really enjoy it too much, just the role itself, sending all those emails out to people. But that's what I've been a part of. And now that I'm VP of Finance for Laurier Supply Chain, I really place a high emphasis on trying to teach my director stuff. Because when I hired him at the start of the year, I told him, my end goal is that you can replace me at the end of the year. So
Nepotism.
No. He's the director he hired. He applied fairly, but I wanted to just make sure that he had a lot of stuff to do, so that when he was interviewing for new things at the end of the year, he had experiences to draw on, because I felt that my experience as a director of events didn't really give me that. But yeah, those are the clubs I've been a part of. I think it's really great to be involved, and you meet a lot of people. It's a lot of fun.
Okay.
Yeah, for me in first year I was a part of Can Teach Connections, which is basically a club that connects students with like students at Laurier to students in El Salvador to help them learn English. So in the first year I was just a conversation partner, and now I've continued being a part of that club until this year, where I'm the VP of Finance. Although I do take care of like all of our like budgets, it's kind of my role. It does everything. Like I help out with the volunteer events and like help with all the conversation partners. It's honestly a really great club. One of my best friends is the president, and we just run fundraisers, and it's lots of fun. But it's also great that we get to make an impact. And then also in first year I was a part of Healthy Hawks, which is kind of just focusing on anything healthy. So I was director of events, and I'm still the director of events to this day. So we just kind of run fun events around campus. Like we have puppies. We did like a Barbie cycling class, which was a lot of fun. Then I also was on the Laurier Food Bank Club. So if you don't have enough groceries, you can connect with like Laurier Food Bank, and we create like paper bag baskets, just like groceries of things that people need.
Is that the thing that's in front of the AC sometimes? I know like in the beginning of the school year they had like bread.
Oh.
Just like available in front of the AC.
Maybe they've switched it around, but it usually is in the 24-hour lounge. You connect with someone, and then we have like specific lockers where students can just like pick up the food discreetly. But maybe it's like tied together with that.
Maybe.
Yeah. I know that also in first year I kind of was just interested in being like a general member, so that means that you can just go to like the events. I was a general member for like the startup club, which was really cool. You get to hear about like entrepreneurs talk. It's not like necessarily a lot of work, and it's very like free about what events that you can go to, but kind of cool, like a new learning experience. If you're maybe don't want to commit to being a part of a club, you can go into an event of something that you're interested in.
Yeah, a lot of people start out as general members.
Yeah.
It's really great.
Yeah, and I definitely think it's important that like first years don't have to be a part of Laz clubs in specifically. I think Laurier has so many different clubs outside of Laz as well that are really important and are really helpful as well.
Yeah, I think that's something that I might have fallen into the trap of in first year looking back. It's like when I looked at the clubs, I looked at like, I'm in BBA, I'm looking at the LASSOC clubs, and I didn't really realize how many clubs were out there.
Yeah, it definitely took a different route. I'm obviously a part of this club now, which is a business club, but in high school I did like a lot of volunteering, so I kind of wanted to like stick with that, and like I was doing business for school, so I was like, maybe I'll do something a little bit outside of business.
I think that looks really good, like when you're talking about volunteering stuff, and I'm sure big companies or just like Laurier loves to see that overall. But what are some of your work and volunteer experiences, I guess? But like, you really did touch up on the volunteer, so maybe we'll focus on the work aspect, like before you applied to co-op.
Right. So all through high school, I'm lucky enough to have an uncle who owns a cabinet shop. So I work there all through high school, just kind of doing a little bit of everything.
Like the making of the cabinet, or?
Yeah. So I would work in the back, so I'd go on, installations or demolitions of offices. They build dental offices. I'd also like put cabinets together. I did a lot of stuff like laminating cabinets.
Okay.
And then I'd also go in the front. So I know one summer when I was there, they have all their blueprints to all of the offices, and they were all on paper. But what they wanted to do is they wanted to have them on a cloud so that when, the guys were off at the sites, they could just pull it up on their phones to see the plan. So my job was to go through and scan all of these in and set up a cloud. And this cabinet shop has been open since 1994.
Wow.
So I think it took me about 2 months. I think there was around 3,000 files that I scanned into this cloud. So yeah, that was my job. And then just other like stuff around the office, just front or back. And I found that really helpful when I was applying to co-op because it's such a wide-ranging thing that there's so much you can talk about. It's like, yeah, I was out working with my hands, interacting with clients and stuff on the job site, but then I could also come back to the office and here's this big task that I undertook to like solve a problem and organize it. And then I also had an internship after first year where I was just doing a little sales and HR role at this little fintech firm in Toronto. And that was really neat just because it kind of exposed me more to a professional environment that I previously didn't have. And I know a lot of people will make a big deal if they haven't been exposed to that. I personally don't think it was a big deal. It was nice to have that experience, but I think as far as co-ops looking, they're not really too concerned with that. So, I mean, if you're someone who's in first year, you've never had kind of a professional job like that, I don't think it's a big deal at all. I really wouldn't worry too much about that. I think it's more important to just kind of look at all of the experiences you've had and ask yourself, what did I learn from this? What were my takeaways? How did I build myself up because of this experience? And I think if you can sit down and kind of list those out and talk about them in an interview, then you're perfectly set for either, a co-op interview or just a job interview in general.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
I totally agree. Like all throughout high school, I worked, or like up until like I guess maybe grade 10 or 11, up until COVID, I worked at a restaurant, and I definitely used some of those skills. It was like a very, very busy restaurant, and it still was like helpful in resume building towards a business role because I was able to like deal with stress, and you can kind of really turn any of those roles and like find a specific skill that you can apply to business. So yeah, I had that role working as a hostess, and then after COVID, it shut down. So I actually got a role doing sales and marketing at a door-to-door window cleaning place. It was a very interesting experience, like door-to-door sales. You obviously face a lot of rejection, but it was honestly a great learning experience. It was, again, after COVID, so I got to meet so many new people, which I like missed out on just being isolated at home. But I learned a lot of just cool sales tactics and learning how to like meet your weekly quota. And then after that summer, I actually worked at a office supplies company for marketing, which did give me that exposure to like a professional environment. And then I had the opportunity to work up until my second year for COVID. So I worked part-time all throughout school. So I went through like 3 different managers and basically worked in like every department of marketing. So it like really broadened my working experience.
But you're not gonna major in or like concentrate in marketing?
I don't know. I've like debated it, but I think that I want to kind of like stray away a little bit for marketing. There's like I think I appreciate like a role that's a bit more maybe like marketing and finance and like doing something else. I kind of like doing a little bit of everything, like something like project management or product management where I'm like tying in a bunch of different skills. So I kind of wanted to leave it open-ended to like just take the courses that I wanted to do.
A lot of people get caught up in the concentrations. I don't really think, like if you're doing accounting or finance and you know that's exactly what you want to do, then yeah, the concentration's great. But if you want to leave yourself more open-ended to different things, then really it's not that important? Because I don't even think it appears on your diploma.
No, yeah, it doesn't apply on your diploma. That was like one of the things for me. And then I was also going on exchange, so I was like, I'd rather choose exchange than trying to like find the courses that fit with my concentration, which like, but I understand with like finance or accounting, it makes more sense to concentrate in those fields.
Where are you heading for exchange?
I'm going to Switzerland.
I meant to ask you that. I
Yeah,
forgot.
yeah. Really excited.
It just came out, right? The results?
Yeah,
for
it came out
exchange?
last Thursday.
Do you mind me asking, like, where it was on your ranking? 'Cause,
It
like-
was first.
Oh,
Mhm.
that's awesome.
Was
Yeah.
that Geneva?
No,
Where is
it's
it?
in I'm probably gonna pronounce this wrong, but it's in Winterthur. It's like 15 minutes outside of Zurich.
Okay,
So
gotcha.
I'm like 20 minutes away from the airport there.
We'll have to
that's
plan a big
perfect.
trip over for reading week.
Pardon?
We'll have to plan a big trip over for reading
Yes,
week. Rally
yes.
everyone.
Lindsay, Hannah, and Emma are coming to visit.
Ooh.
I booked a meeting. We're planning it on Sunday.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So, like, how does the exchange program really work? Does it focus on your grades a lot?
I don't think so. So for exchange, I think you have to have a minimum of like a 7 GPA,
Okay.
which is like
Progression.
pretty low. Yeah, your progression to stay in the BBA program. And then you have to do a list of 4 schools that you want to go to, but with co-op, only certain schools work because of the timeline. So there's some schools that like start a little bit later or like end in like the new year. So that kind of narrowed down a bunch of schools that I could and couldn't choose. And then you put that list of 4 and you fill out this whole form. There's like a letter of motivation of like why you want to go on exchange. But from my understanding, it's mostly ranked on like your GPA and grades. That's how they decipher like who gets their first, second, and third, fourth choice.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's tough. What were your other choices?
So I had first was Switzerland. Second, I put Portugal. I've heard that's very competitive. I don't actually know who got there, but I heard that there's only 4 spots. I don't know.
Oh wow.
And then I put Paris. I think it was like University of Dauphine. And then lastly, I put University of Birmingham in England.
It's so fun. Oh my gosh. I want to do exchange.
I'm so excited. My sister's going on exchange, and I like already have planned all my trips.
Where is she going?
She's going to Antwerp, Belgium.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
That looked really cool, but that was one of the schools that didn't work with co-op.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, she goes to Queens, so like they
Oh.
don't have co-op.
Oh, okay.
So
Right.
it's like she doesn't have to worry about that, thankfully. But I'm
yeah.
like so excited to go visit her, and it's,
Oh my God, yeah.
like, I'm so excited to apply for my own exchange as well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
If you need any tips or tricks, I can help
I
out.
definitely might be
Yeah.
reaching out to
Yeah.
you now because it's like something I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah. Even I have 2 other roommates that are also going on exchange, and we did like lots of research figuring out like what schools are the best to go to. So we definitely can help out a little
Yeah,
bit.
definitely.
It's a pass-fail system, right?
Yes. Yeah. Also, yeah. I believe it's all of Europe. There's schools there's a school in like the States, and then they have like some Asian schools there, and then Australia. So I don't know if they have the same grading system, but all of Europe, I believe, is pass or fail.
So, kind of moving on, with being in co-op and having to try and find jobs and everything, networking is a really big part of that. So, do you guys have any tips that you would give first years on how to like get into networking or just how to approach networking?
I'm probably not the person to talk to about this because I've been on the record for saying how much I hate networking events. So yeah, I don't know. I'll leave that to you.
I honestly could agree with that. Like, I don't love networking events just because like I find that there's usually a speaker that speaks at the front, and then everyone's like swarming after the speakers trying to talk to them, and then you have to like figure out exactly what you want to say. So like that's probably not my favorite way to network. But what I do really like is just booking coffee chats with like people that I know either online or in person. Laurier is just a great school because there's so many people that were in business. So I've had so many connections of people that I've like worked at like Amazon and being like, hey, like, are you free for a coffee chat? Like, what's the company culture? A lot of the networking I do is like online just because it's like a little less convenient to do it at Laurier. But yeah, I've kind of just used Laurier as like a stance to like connect with other people and then figuring out about their work experience. Networking events are still great. Like, you definitely can still go to them. Even just learning about it, learning about a specific company or like someone's experience is cool. You don't have to feel so much pressure to like actually like talk to people and like socialize, but like getting that experience on the back end is still really valuable.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like a lot of people think networking is like just networking events.
Yeah.
But it's important to know that like coffee chats and like getting in touch with people on LinkedIn and just sending a message being like,
Yeah.
hey, what's the company like? What advice do you have is a really good way of networking as well.
You don't want to add anything? Just like
Well, it's tough because like I see networking events as more as a time for learning because I'm a pretty outgoing person. I want to go and have like a genuine connecting conversation, and I find that really hard to do at a coffee chat. Sorry, not a coffee chat, at a networking event. A coffee chat is different because you can have kind of that connection and that genuine conversation. I personally just have not really found myself doing that too often. One thing that I find really neat is just kind of people reaching out to you after maybe you left the job. So I know that job.
I feel cool when that happens.
Yeah, like that job I worked downtown. There was a guy, Mark, and he was really smart guy. Shout out to Mark. Really smart guy. He ran his own sales consulting place, and he worked with all the like sales development reps that I worked with at the company. And he reached out to me maybe a year after I left that job, saying, "Hey, hey Harrison, like how's everything going? How are you doing?" Just stuff like that. Not a huge conversation, but just like the touch base and say, "Hey, I remember you." Like that connection's still there.
Yeah.
So that would be what I like about networking, and I do that to people that I used to work with. Like I'll see maybe they change jobs on LinkedIn. I'll send them a DM. I'll say, "Hey, congratulations. Like that's awesome. Hope you're doing well." So that's kind of where I find my place in networking. But I think everyone's different. Everyone has their own things that they're comfortable with when it comes to networking.
Yeah.
And it's kind of just finding that place for yourself and getting in your groove. I feel.
Yeah.
So like right now, I guess, you've touched on some of the places you worked at. Like for co-op upcoming, are you guys working this summer or are you guys currently on co-op?
We're both working this summer.
Yes, we're in the same sequence.
Okay, and then have you guys found a placement yet?
Yeah, so for me, I chose to go back to where I worked in the fall for a few reasons. Number one, I really enjoyed where I was working. Great work-life balance, great people. So that was huge for me. And then if I I'd have decided for the most part that I want to concentrate in accounting. So I always said, if I continue working in accounting, there's no place I'd rather work but my firm. The only way I leave is if I
should be a role model for this company.
I know. I'll send this to them.
That line, just
yeah, like there was no place I would rather work but there for where I am in my life right now. Unless I decide to change fields, say I want to go into finance or marketing or something like that, which long term maybe I see myself in finance. Maybe I still see myself long term in accounting. It's kind of takes some thought into it. But I chose to stay at my firm for those main reasons. I really liked where I was working. I saw myself there for a while. Should I stay in accounting? There's no place I'd rather work. So that's what I chose to do.
So I'm personally still looking for a job. I guess I'm being like more picky about where I want to work. So still networking and like I have like a few interviews coming up. So hopefully one of those will work out.
We'll cross our fingers.
Yeah.
You're going to be fine.
Yeah. Hopefully.
It should work out, right? You have proper experience. You
Yeah.
are a part of a lot of volunteer stuff.
Yeah,
so.
it's like also like partly my fault. I like declined my first offer from my first co-op. So just kind of looking for like new experience and like being picky. So I put myself in this place, but like hopefully it will work out.
It will work out.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
sure. I believe in it.
Just a little bit of stress to push you forward.
Yeah.
Find something good.
Honestly, you can almost see it as like excitement, like all the interviews and stuff. Like, do you
Yeah.
see it as exciting?
I don't know. Like, it depends on the interview. Some interviews can definitely be a lot more scary than others. I appreciate, like, a chill interview, but some are, like, very, very serious, professional, and they just give you no feedback. So.
The technical ones can be nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not really in that, but I would not like that either.
No.
Did you have a technical question for your first?
Yes. So in my interview with the job that ended up hiring me, it was mainly a behavioral interview. But they did ask me at one point, what was it? I think it was like define like just the basics of actuarial accounting. And there's kind of two ways you can go there. Option one is just trying to kind of BS something and find your way along the way. I've never really been a proponent of option one. I was always taught, if you're asked something and you don't know, just say you don't know. Like, always kind of stick
Really?
to, yeah. So I just looked back and I was like, yeah, I'm going to be honest with you, I have no idea what that means. And I was like, okay, you know, I respect that. And then they offered me the job, so.
That seems
Worked out.
crazy.
Yeah. No, I mean, if you don't know, like,
Can you answer the
Why-
question now?
no. I can answer
Okay.
accrual-based accounting. I cannot
Okay.
answer actuarial accounting. Maybe I fluffed the words, but
Okay.
something like that. I just looked at them and I was like, yeah, I have no idea.
They can
Fair enough.
probably tell if you're BSing though. It's
Yeah.
like
Exactly,
Yeah.
yeah.
nonsense just spewing out of
So-
your mouth.
I mean, for my interview, they just wanted to see, you know, number one, can you really blow me away and answer? Number two, like, if you don't know, can you just, you know, kind of say, yeah, I don't know?
Mhm.
I probably wouldn't do that if I was interviewing at, like, a bank for a finance job. I think if I said that, you know, the interview would probably be over pretty quick.
Yeah. Yeah, there's
yeah.
always like small bits and pieces that you can pull. Like, it doesn't matter if you get all of it, but I think a lot of the times in an interview, they're just trying to look to see what you know or to see if you can think through a process and think on your feet. So if you can
Yeah.
give a little bit of something, I think it might be better.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to gauge the culture of, you know,
Of
the
course,
place you're
yeah.
interviewing. Because some places, like, they want to teach you everything. They just
Yeah.
want to get to know you.
Yeah.
I
yeah,
think
for
that's
sure.
probably a lot. I don't know the majority of, but I'd say a lot of the interviews you're going to get in your first co-op round, they don't expect you to know that much. They're going to teach you almost pretty much everything you need to know on the job.
Yes. Yeah.
They just want to see, you know, what kind of person are we dealing with? Do you fit kind of what we're trying to build?
Mm-hmm.
I want to say like the interviews that I've done have been just so behavioral. I was
Yeah.
like shocked, you know. I was going in and then I think they were just trying to gauge personality more than anything,
Right.
and which is why I think even for first years it's like more important to really show your personality. It's like
Yeah.
don't walk into an interview just like strictly very professional. Don't
Yeah.
create any small talk. I think that just like makes it very awkward in a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to be yourself because, like, that's who you're bringing to the office every
Exactly.
day if you get the job.
Yeah, I feel like a big interview tip that I get when I like ask people, they're like, "Don't be nervous," which is like really hard to
Yeah.
just say that.
That's great
But-
advice.
Yeah, but really what they're saying is just try and be yourself and like
Mhm.
act like you're having a normal conversation. Like on the job, obviously you're not going to be like super nervous all the time. They kind
Yeah.
of want to see what you actually would be acting like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like, it can be intimidating saying, oh, you know, I'm interviewing with someone who could be my boss.
Yeah.
I enter all my interviews saying, you know, this is just me and someone I met on the street and we're having a conversation. And they happen to be asking me all these questions that have, like, long-term employment ramifications for me. So are you a Sequence 1 co-op then?
I
Applying
am.
for the summer?
I'm working
Okay.
in the summer.
What kind of jobs are you looking for?
So I already have a placement.
Nice.
I'm working with KPMG
Oh,
for
nice.
audit, and it was just like I think I interacted with them on accounting day.
Yep.
Like one of their representatives, and I feel like that really helped. Like you guys.
Oh yeah,
get to-
yeah.
Not that it wasn't helpful, but I feel like just, I guess, getting to know their name, and then sometimes when you connect with them, you can
Yeah.
bring them up in like your cover letter or something.
Oh yeah,
And I
totally.
feel like that helps because I think that
Yeah.
like shows that you actually try to get to know their company a little bit
Yeah.
more.
Yes,
but-
I have had a similar experience. It was just not through a recruiting event. Like the first
Mhm.
co-op job that I got, one of my roommates knew someone who previously worked there, and I mentioned like their name. They kind of guided me through like what to put on like the company's values and what they really look for in an employee. So like I think that really helped me.
Because, like, in first year, when I applied to all my summer co-ops or summer jobs, I got, like, ghosted by,
Oh, yeah.
like,
Yeah.
all my companies.
Yeah.
All the
it's,
companies.
It's tough out there, especially right now. I know, like, my coordinator was telling me how tough the cycle has been for co-ops.
Yeah.
Because I know a ton of people who went to continuous, and I feel like there were way less who did in the summer when we were first applying.
I think it was also like my first round of co-op. I really wasn't picky. I applied to like 50
That's true.
jobs.
Yeah.
But this time I did not apply to as many jobs.
Mhm.
Just because I was like, I have the experience now. I kind of want to do something that I know that I'll like.
Yeah.
Wait, should I be meeting with my coordinator? Is that, like, no?
No.
Okay.
I feel like after your co-op term, you'll have to meet
Yeah.
with them. They have like a work term check-in.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Who's your co-op coordinator?
I have no idea.
Yeah, you got to go on the navigator and look at somewhere in there.
My co-op coordinator is wonderful if you have the same one. Like,
Same with mine.
She's so great.
I love her.
Who do you have?
Tracy.
Oh my god, I have Tracy too.
Tracy's so sweet.
She's so great. She responds to emails in minutes and always
Oh, I
is
know.
so helpful.
Yeah,
Yeah. Hopefully you have Tracy.
Yeah, maybe I should
Tracy's
check.
good.
Yeah.
Tracy's a gem.
She's great. Shout out to Tracy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, hopefully she hears this, because I feel like
Yeah, I hope she does.
maybe she won't, probably not, but we'll see.
I'll send her a link.
Yeah.
I'll be like, hey, Tracy, me and Harrison were talking about you.
Okay, so, like, I guess during your co-ops, what is something that you learned from it?
I can go ahead.
Yeah, I can take it.
Should we talk about what our jobs actually
yeah,
were?
Yeah, maybe bring
Oh,
that up.
that would probably help, yeah.
So for my first job, I was working at American Express in enterprise partnerships, which is more on like the marketing side. So my role, we worked towards like facilitating our partnerships for our premium level card members. So it'd be something like working with like the Amex Platinum card, and there's like a benefit with Holt Renfrew. So working with like Holt Renfrew externally and then internally marketing that to our consumers. Very like interesting role. I actually really enjoyed it. I also got the opportunity to work a little bit on the entertainment team, which is super cool, like learning about all of like the concerts and like theater shows. So it was great. But I think the one takeaway that I'd have is like that was my first co-op is like Amex was again very huge on like coffee chatting and just talking to so many people, and it was like I had to have like 5 to 10 coffee chats a week, but it was so great to like hear from people all around this like big company about their whole entire work experience, and I felt like I actually learned so much, not only like about the company because it's so complex about how everything works, but just like how people started in one place and like led them to a completely different place. It's like it made me more sure that I don't need to know like my answer right now, but just taking everything as a learning experience. So yeah, that was great.
So I actually worked at a little boutique accounting firm in Ajax. I'm from Whitby, so it was pretty close to home, probably 20 minutes from my house. And it was really nice working there because I know you were at a big company. I was at a little company with like 35 employees. Like everyone knows each other's names. So that was really great. And the majority of what I did, I was just a staff accountant. So I filed like a lot of year ends. So it'd be like a compilation report. So you start and you kind of go through all their financial statements and you make sure that they're all in order, and then you confirm any amounts. You make any the proper adjustments. You file their T2. That's about all there is to it.
Were you working during the busy season? Or?
No,
Okay.
I was in the fall.
Fall.
I was in the
Okay.
fall. So yeah, no, I really enjoyed the role.
Can you
and-
change concentrations?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So the thing
No
with me,
biggie.
no.
Well, you
it's
can
like,
change concentrate. Well, you haven't. Have you declared your
No,
concentration?
I haven't declared.
Oh.
You have it till like a couple of months. From
I'm
now?
in no rush to declare.
Oh yeah, I guess you can
'Cause
declare.
really it's
you
just
can
you need
declare
4
next year.
courses,
But yeah,
so.
the issue is like you need to make sure you have all the courses to concentrate and stuff.
Yeah.
And like finance, it's more
Micro.
difficult to go back in that.
Yeah.
I really don't want to do micro. Like, you have to do it again?
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
they
a
just
third-year
they
version?
literally just changed it
In
this
the
summer.
Yeah.
And then a bunch, like, I remember we were at, like, a barbecue or something, and a bunch of people were like, what the hell? Like, we have to take finance? Like, so many people that we were with
They
were
were
planning
pissed.
on, like, majoring in finance. So they're like, oh, we're switching that. And, like, we were in third year in the summer. They're like, oh, yeah, you have to go back to, it's second year micro, but,
yeah.
like,
Oh,
Really?
I'm taking micro. Is that fine then?
second year micro,
second
yeah.
year micro?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
we're
you're
all
chilling.
good
You're
now.
good. You're
Okay.
good.
I'm all good. I'm all
Yeah.
good.
Because it's just an extra, well, it's like some people choose macro or micro, and then you just have to take both.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank God I chose micro then, because I hate it.
Oh, wait, I think you have to take both.
What?
Yeah, it might be both. Because, like, I was talking to actually a professor. He teaches grad economics. I was talking to him at a networking event last week. But he was telling me, he's like, for finance jobs, you know, he didn't
Okay, wait,
really...
you're learning stuff from networking events.
Yes, okay. But he was saying, he's like, I don't really understand why there's such a big fad in finance, like in our school at least, about taking microeconomics, because it's not very applicable to finance jobs. Like when you look at a finance job, the majority of the entry-level
No.
jobs are analysts, and analysts need to analyze macroeconomic trends.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I
So-
think macro is like way more valuable for business.
It's a lot more applicable because I mean the way I look at it, it's like I like to be able to look at like the news and apply stuff that I
yeah,
learn.
yeah, like even understanding
Yeah.
like bank rates or like inflation,
Exactly.
that definitely helps.
You can do that. Like macro is so applicable to everything you see around you in everyday life.
Yeah.
I don't find micro applicable, and maybe I don't understand it enough. But
I can't really remember much of it, to be honest.
I just remember being in first year and our
It was
prof teaching us.
online.
Yeah, she was like, okay, you know, you go to the grocery store and it's like you use microeconomics to choose the loaf of bread you're gonna buy. It's like, no, you don't. I'm buying the same loaf of bread I bought for the last 10 years. I don't
Yeah.
even care how much it costs. Like I'm buying that.
Yeah.
So
I don't even know what kind of good that is. Like a necessity?
Me and Econ are not friends, so I
Yeah,
could
no, I
not
didn't-
tell you.
Dempster's whole wheat. Way to go.
I don't agree with that bread.
What?
No.
What kind of
What
bread
bread
do
do you
you
buy?
choose?
I'd buy like rye bread, like the bread that's like
Oh,
But it's so dry.
I don't like that bread. No.
Oh, gee, Rachel.
Honestly, that bread actually would be good for like a peanut butter sandwich, but like that's about it.
Like the rye bread or the Dempster's whole wheat?
Dempster's whole wheat.
No, rye would be good for like a sandwich.
No, peanut butter sandwich, peanut butter jelly. But I don't eat that regularly at all. But I think that bread like would be better.
No, okay. Dempster's whole wheat is versatile. You can eat anything with it.
I would not want a sandwich
Rye
on
bread,
that.
it's like you can only have a sandwich with it. Like
I would-
if you make eggs, are you gonna eat rye bread with your eggs?
Yeah.
Okay. Teach their own.
I don't buy much bread. I prefer a bagel.
I don't buy much bread either. I've been trying to cut.
Oh.
Yeah.
Bagels are good though.
Yeah. I could go for a bagel.
I put a sandwich on a bagel. You can put peanut butter on a bagel. You can
That's
put
fair.
anything on a bagel.
What do you usually put on your bagel though?
Well, like cream cheese usually. Sometimes I'll make a sandwich, but like usually just cream cheese. It's like the best thing when you're in a rush
Yeah.
and like it will fill you up enough for like to
But-
survive.
Toasted or non-toasted?
Toasted.
whoever eats
Ew.
non-toasted
No,
bagels
no,
needs help.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Toasted bagel. I was waiting for that. We should probably get back on track.
Yeah.
Wait, let's pivot back to this.
Okay, yeah. We don't have much time left. But
Okay.
just kind of summing up what you learned through like the whole co-op experience and your jobs. If you could sum it up in like a sentence or two, how would you describe it?
Oh, jeez. Mom,
A sentence or two. Oh,
It could
no.
be longer, could be shorter.
Like, is
Okay.
there a hard cap on sentences?
No.
This is
no.
definitely
Okay.
not going to be a sentence or two, but I think the co-op experience is like really invaluable. Even talking to people outside of co-op, they're like talking about the job market and how hard it's been, but co-op kind of really guides you through that whole experience. Like they help you build a resume, they help you to see like what interviews are going to be like, how your cover letter should look, and like how you should tailor it. Like getting those skills down before you're applying to jobs is super, super helpful. What I was going to say is with Laurier Co-op, it's like the turnaround for the job process is a lot faster. Even when you're applying to jobs on your own, like companies don't really have a rush to get back to you, but it's really nice with Laurier how they have like I don't know, it's even like 2 weeks or 3 weeks that they have to get back to you when you're applying.
Yeah.
So it's really helpful like getting a job and like getting it over and done with, which is just super great, managing like your schoolwork while applying to jobs and like getting that job security.
And just getting that stress off your mind too. It's
Yeah.
like you don't want to have the process drag on for months on end.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
I think the biggest thing that I kind of learned as a takeaway is kind of just all the things you learn about yourself. Because I know in co-op, it's not like you're applying to your full-time permanent job.
Yeah.
You're applying to co-op terms, so you can go into a term and see kind of what you're doing, and it's different from being in class. Because in class, I feel like you learn all this theory and you learn all these things and
Yeah.
concepts. But then it's completely different when you actually get in the workplace and start doing those things. So you get to learn about yourself, and you get to learn, like, do I actually like doing this? Do I not like doing this? And it kind of helps you tailor your career path to who you are as a person. Because it's great to sit here and say, yeah, I want to work in investment banking, I want to work in this, I want to work in that. But until you've actually had applicable experience, you can't really say for certainty.
Yeah.
So
It's also really nice how with co-op you kind of go back and forth when you get to a certain point with like school and work
Yeah.
and school and work, so you can kind of learn new things while you're in school which helps you figure out what you want to do, and then get that real life job experience, and then that further helps you like decide your career path, which is great.
I don't know, the people who are on co-ops, like, they still all come up to Waterloo on the weekends and they love it because they say, I live the student life while I'm working with none of the actual school work.
Yes, yeah, that
So-
is a great combination.
Yeah. Yeah, no, overall it's a great experience.
Yeah, I think that's all we have for today.
Okay.
Thank you guys so much for coming.
Thank you very much for having
Yeah,
us.
thanks for having us on. It was
Of
great.
course.